What's up guys, Sam Rebels Off-Road. We'll be talking about the Kawasaki KRX steering rack. It has some design flaws and issues which might become apparent with some of the slop that a lot of these are showing on some of the older models, as well as some of these newer ones that are coming out still have some of these issues. So we'll be going into what these design flaws are, and also we are partnering with Class1 Motorsports to bring you their steering rack bushing upgrade kit that fixes all of these issues. We'll be talking about how this kit does that, as well as how it's the only one on the market that does truly fix all of these issues. So we're gonna get right into it, but first go smash that like button and subscribe for more great content. And we're gonna get right into this video. All right, so we got the box here and we're gonna get right into it. Get right into this box and check out the product here. Got some bubble wrap there. And here are the bushings there. Ah, yeah, sick. Look at this. Class1 Motorsports stickers. Sweet, awesome. Gonna throw one of these on my rig right away. All right, so these are the bushings. Open them up. All right, so gonna show you what these do here in a minute, but they look very nice quality. They're machined brass and they're machined to very tight tolerances. And then this is some sort of like Delrin or plastic piece here, and I'll show you what this is used for here as well. I made these little diagrams. So this is how your stock steering rack is set up. You can see your steering shaft here and your pinion gear there. The steering shaft kind of goes into this, and when you turn, it moves this back and forth, and your tie rods move back and forth with that. So I'm going to talk about the design flaw with this setup here and explain exactly how it is designed and what I think Kawasaki was thinking with this design. I want to show you exactly what this kit does. And so first of all, there's a two-part problem, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. And so we're going to put the shaft back in. So with the shaft back in, now I'm going to show you that there is play already in this. You see that? Especially on this side here, there's just all this wobbly wobble in there, and that's because there's a bushing in there that's very narrow, and also it's the ID on it isn't as tight as this side. And now on this side there's also play. I don't know if you can see that from there, but there's play on this side bearing as well. On the outer portion of the steering rack, it has a bushing here and a bushing here, and this is kind of a cross-section view. So on these bearings, it's kind of narrow. I'm not sure what material it is. I think it may be just like aluminum or something along those lines, but there's not a ton of support here, and whatever material this is wears down pretty quickly. Also, they use this little block here that fits onto the shaft, and it provides some tolerance for this gear mesh here. This piece here, it rides on this shaft, but look at that. There's all this wiggle room there. And behind that is a spring that keeps tension on this. And that is what holds it against this shaft. This bearing has a larger inner diameter. And what I think Kawasaki was thinking with that is you have to have some adjustability for this spring and this gear mesh here. So basically what ends up happening is if you hit a rock or something on the trail, it allows this to move and actually will hit up against the other side of the bearing and cause like a rattle. And that will make this bearing not last a long time. And it also will kind of misalign your whole steering shaft whenever you take those hits. So you're digging into the corners of this bearing and wearing out those bearings much faster. Eventually that spring will wear out. And once that spring wears out, then you can just have all this kind of play in there as well. And once there's that play, you got all kinds of wiggle. See? All of that opens up, and all these bearings will just get wiped out, and it'll just cause a huge problem, and you'll get all of that steering slop that a lot of you I know are experiencing on your older Kawasaki's and now are noticing on some of the newer Kawasaki's as well. All right, so now we're going to talk about what Class 1 Motorsports has done to address all of these issues and why it's the only one on the market that truly does address all of these issues. First off, they replaced these bushings with much wider brass bushings, which that material doesn't wear as fast as the stock material, and so you get a lot more life. It's very I'm gonna say lubracious. I think that's a word. So it's upgraded material, and it also is much wider, providing a lot more support along the shaft here. So on this side, they also made that wider, and it also is a brass bushing, but they tightened up the tolerances on the ID.
Why is that?
What that does is it allows this shaft to ride along the flat of this bushing, and that alone will make it wear a lot slower, because basically if you're digging into the corner because you're cockeyed, you're going to wear down that bearing surface much faster. It spreads out the load with that wider brass surface and with that tighter tolerance. Look at that. It's nice and tight all the way across.
Phrasing.
They also went ahead and replaced this part with a fixed part. It's made out of Delrin, I believe, is the material. If you look, it fits down over it. Look at that. It really doesn't have any kind of play on it. And then instead of using that spring, they eliminated the spring completely. The spring won't be able to compress because it's not there. These tolerances are perfect to allow the perfect amount of gear mesh, and you also have the additional support of this Delrin block. So even when these bushings start to wear, which like I said, they will wear much slower than the stock setup, when these bushings start to wear, you're able to adjust this block down more to have that perfect meshing of the gears. Daniel at Class 1 Motorsports has been running this steering rack setup in his race car for over 3,000 miles, and it still is staying nice and tight. He's had it adjusted a couple times, but in that very harsh racing environment, that's very good. There's another brand that has a steering rack upgrade kit on the market, which does fix a lot of the issues. Daniel had been running that, but then he noticed that it was getting sloppy again quite quickly. So he developed this kit that truly fixes all of the steering problems. And so I'm gonna go over quickly what the difference between his kit and the other brand's kit is. Nothing against the other brand's kit, it just doesn't go all the way to fix all of the issues, in my opinion. So this is a quick little diagram of what the other brand kind of steering rack setup is. They do replace the bushings with wider brass ones, but on this side, they don't tighten up that ID there along the shaft, and so it still allows for some of that off-centered kind of cockeyedness once these things start wearing in. And as soon as it starts getting like that, it'll wear even faster. Instead of spreading out the load across the whole surface, it will just start digging in, and it'll just wear out a lot faster once it does start wearing. This will fix a lot of the sloppiness in the short term, but in the long term, this will wear out way faster. So now you know why Class 1 Motorsports is the only one on the market that truly fixes all of these issues with the Kawasaki KRX steering rack. Also, they have a great price on this kit. I think it's around $70. I will also provide the link down in the description where you can buy this kit for yourself. I posted a video on how you can pull your steering rack. Class 1 Motorsports offers installation for their kits as well as rebuilding of your steering rack. It is a little bit involved. It's a fairly involved install. So if you don't want to do it yourself, if you don't want to take it on yourself, go ahead and send it to Class 1 Motorsports. Daniel will be more than happy to help you out with that. I am going to be showing you how you can do it yourself in the next video, so stay tuned for that, and you can get a pretty good idea on if you want to take it on or not. That's all the time we have for today. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe for more great content, and we will see you next time.